I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. It ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's Miley Cyrus here. We're coming towards the halfway point of the season. Hopefully, some of you guys are in the bottom of the pack here. That song kind of inspires you, wakes you up. Looking at the standings here, and there's 6 teams that are pretty much anyone can win here, and then there's another 6 who are just below 500. We have 2 teams, 1 and 6. Another 3 teams, 2 and 5, and 1, 3 and 4. So, hopefully, Miley Cyrus here will give you guys a kick in the ass. Looking at the standings as well. Team Ruchka is in first place. Also, George, Jared, myself, Max, and Mike round out the top 6. So, keep up the good work, gentlemen. And to you clowns in the bottom 6, better wake up because before you know, you're not going to be eligible for the playoffs. I'm actually not 100% sure, but I think Carmen and Jordan might be out. Don't quote me on that. Actually, you can't quote me on that because I just said that. I'm going to just run through the scores here real quick. We have George McCoy tuning in for the second time. So we'll get George on here. We'll probably talk about success, probably talking about boning Billy's sister. Pretty much the questions that you would want him to be asked, I will ask. So don't you worry, gentlemen. Let's go. I'm going to be 30 seconds each one. Bam, 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 bam. We'll start with my matchup versus Team Vito. I beat 143.8 to 98.6. Wasn't really that surprised. Look at the matchup beforehand. It was kind of a mismatch. Andrew Luck had a nice second half. Allen Robinson, 21.8. Looking at their matchup, Amari Cooper, top point getter. Redskins D, unfortunately, got him -3. Eli Manning didn't really do much. DeMarco Murray hasn't really done much all year. Martavis Bryant, 14.8. So, congrats to myself, improving to 5-2, making that strong push towards potentially a first-round bye in the playoffs. Oh, that brings me up an interesting point. I've got a few text messages here. Let me just break down the how the playoffs are working. Top 2 teams get a bye, and the first round is 3-6, 4-5. Just like last year. Also, the money. I've had a few questions on this. First place, it gets $800. Second place gets $300, and the third place game gets $100. So, something to push for towards the home stretch here is a nice $800 Venmo acquisition via myself. So, hopefully, I don't have to give it to any of you guys. Hopefully, it just stays in my pocket. I'll move on to the next matchup here. This is just a battle of shitty teams. Hollywood Squares improved to 2-5 as they beat Shitty Farm Team 2. I see Ben went back to his past where I think it was 2 years ago he named his team Shitty Farm Team, and they're back and they're shitty as ever. Tom Brady's been actually really good for him, but other than that, he really hasn't had a whole lot of help from anyone else. Look at Trevor's team. Lamar Miller went off yesterday, or the other day. Not yesterday, it was fucking Sunday. Wow. So, congrats to Trevor, improving to 2-5. Maybe this was some 6-seed push to the playoffs, but I wouldn't really count on it. This was actually a barn burn right here. Casey versus Jordan. Jordan can't catch a friggin' break. I was actually looking at it. I think he's like 7th or 8th in points scored, so he's actually not. His record doesn't really justify his performances. I know he's had a few dismal weeks, but then he puts up 143 points and loses 144.2 to 143.1. Kid can't catch a break. Looking at this matchup here, I actually thought Casey was going to be the top point getter here, but George squeezed it out. Looking at Todd Gurley, might be the first overall pick next year in fantasy football. The guy's a stud, and he's just going to keep going off. Antonio Bryan got him quiet at 19 points. Eric Ebron, 19.9. Stephon Diggs, I don't know who the hell that is, but 23.7. Texans D, unfortunately, got him -3, but look at Jordan's matchup here. Mike Evans quietly got him 30.4. as well as Darren McFadden, which I forget he exists sometimes, got him 24.2. So I'll actually congratulate both of them on a good week right there. Fortunately, Jordan can't catch a break for the 5th time this year, and Casey improves to 3 and 4. So Casey's making a push to grab one of the 5 or 6 seeds right now. So best of luck to Casey towards the home stretch. Let's go to the next matchup here. Mike versus Max. Who won? Mike did. Scored 130.8 to 91.1. You got to feel a little bad here. I traded him Carlos Hyde and Matt Ryan for Andrew Luck. Matt Ryan and Carlos Hyde combined for 13.7 points. So maybe they'll turn it around for you, Max. I'm sorry for that. Looking at the rest of Max's performance, Doug Martin, he's emerged. He's woke up this year. He's been pretty quiet the last 2 years. So see if Doug Martin keeps it going here. Looking at Mike's matchup though, Danny Woodhead, 33.1. I have in another league, so I was pretty pumped with that performance. Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's an interesting start, 20.7. Tavius Murray, 15.6. Rams D, which he actually outbid me for them. I don't know if anyone else put in a bid for them. Got him 21 points this past week. So congrats to Mike on improving too, 4 and 3. Go to the next matchup here. Carmen versus Rutschka. Rutschka proves to 6 and 1. This might be a team that you want to be gunning for towards the home stretch here. Looking at Rutschka's matchup, Tana Stiff, 27.6. Really didn't get too much from anyone else, though. I mean, fortunately, Carmen only put up 72.6. This is the week you want to knock off one of the top guns, and Carmen couldn't do it. Blake Bortles finally played like Blake Bortles, got him 13. Le'Veon Bell didn't get in the end zone, but still got him 17.7. LeGarrette Blount, negative 0.3. You got to try to get negative points in fantasy football as a running back. Josh Brown, 16.5. So congrats to Rush, improving 6 and 1 on the season. He's gunning for that first round bye. Carmen, just being Carmen, proves a 1 and 6. So congrats to Rush. Move on to the last matchup here. We'll get George on the phone here in a minute. Look at the matchup here. George put up 151.2. 1, 2, 3, 4 of his guys were over 20 points. Phillip Rivers, he throws the ball friggin' 50 times a game, so you're going to get some nice points from Phillip Rivers. Gronk, being Gronk, 27.8. I know he had a touchdown in the fourth quarter of that Patriot game. I think they played the Jets. Looking at Jared, I'm sure Jared must be drinking himself stupid right now because he's lost the last 2 games, and that's just not Jared Cunning fantasy football. So he's probably in a dark hole with a 30 rack of Keystone Light and a carton of cigarettes, with his phone out, trying to figure out who he can trade this, get some wins again. So Mr. 200 sadly drops to 5 and 2, while George improves to 6 and 1. We'll get George here on the phone.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. McCoy.
What's up, man?
How are you doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent here. I see you improved to 6 and 1 on the season here. You beat one of the top dogs here, Jared Cunning, by a score of 151.2 to 97.1. Take me through, I guess what's led to your early success for a 6 and 1 start.
Got some pretty high-end scores on my team so far. I was nervous going into this week. I had no idea what would happen with Jared, but got some big games off of some of my top dogs, and some of his guys struggled. But coming out of the week with Arian Foster injured, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
Yeah.
So next week you got me. Any prediction?
Well, as of right now, you're projected to win, but those projections can go either way.
You can't bank on those, is right.
Yeah, I'm gonna need Jonathan Stewart to step up for me big time to fill that role of Arian Foster, which I don't know if he can. I'm thinking I'm gonna need like two high end weeks from my guys to beat you. I don't think I have solid enough lineup up and down this week, but we'll see what happens.
It's going to come down to Monday night here because I'm looking at the matchup here. I got Luck, and I got to throw in the Panthers defense here. And you got Jonathan Stewart going off on Monday night, and Ted Ginn Jr. So, yeah, it's really going to come down to Monday night. So, best of luck to you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Take me through. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank Billy as a brother-in-law?
Well, I rarely see him, and anytime my father-in-law is over here doing work, Billy's usually at home sleeping, so I'm going to have to go with like a hard 3 right now.
3's being generous.
Yeah.
So, do you have any plans on adding another kid to the family anytime soon?
Adding what?
Producing another kid, a.k.a. Plowing Billy's sister.
Well, she wants to. I mean, we get a lot of practice, but she's ready for a third. I'm not ready yet, though, but maybe in due time. We'll see.
That's awesome. Well, George, thanks for tuning in. Best of luck in Week 8, and hope to have you on the show again.
All right, man.
Take
Talk
care.
to you later.
That's George McCoy. It's a funny guy. That concludes the Week 7 podcast here. Best of luck in Week 8, and best of luck also being a top point getter. So, take care, guys.